in the heart of a village surrounded by vast baobab trees. A mysterious woman named Amara arrived one sunny morning. The villagers were immediately intrigued by her appearance. She was always dressed in flowing white garments, a stark contrast to the vibrant colors typically worn by the locals. Amara wasted no time making her presence known. She purchased a large piece of land on the outskirts of the village and, within 6 months, had constructed the grandest house anyone had ever seen. Her wealth seemed endless and her power unmatched. The villagers believed she was a widow because she lived alone and always wore white, a color associated with mourning in their culture. Little did they know that Amara's husband, whom everyone thought had died, was alive and well, hidden in a secret room within their luxurious home. He was the source of her wealth, her perpetual money-making machine, confined to his hidden chamber day after day. Amara would only bring him out once a month for a breath of fresh air within the confines of their house. Despite her mysterious aura, Amara quickly became a figure of fascination and envy among the villagers. Her wealth and independence were legendary, but they also raised questions and suspicions. How had she amassed such fortune in such a short time? What secrets did she harbor? The villagers, especially the women who toiled endlessly in the fields and at home, couldn't help but wonder about the enigmatic widow in white. Thus the stage was set for a tale of intrigue, magic, and transformation that would forever change the lives of everyone in the village. The village was a place of stark contrasts. The women were known for their strength and resilience, working tirelessly in the fields under the scorching sun and heavy rain. They planted and harvested crops, fetched water, and took care of their families. Even with crying babies strapped to their backs, they never stopped working. Their days were long and arduous, yet they bore their burdens with a quiet dignity. In sharp contrast, the men of the village were notorious for their laziness. They spent their days lounging around, gossiping and drinking palm wine. Even when they did venture to the fields, they often lay about, leaving the real work to their wives. This imbalance had persisted for generations, and while the women were unhappy, they felt powerless to change the status quo. The men believed they were the village's greatest asset, thinking the women couldn't do without them. They often joked about Amara, suggesting she should marry one of them to share her wealth. She must be lonely, they would say. Let her marry one of us. With her money, we could live in luxury. These discussions were a daily routine, filled with idle fantasies and empty promises. The young boys in the village were taught to emulate their fathers, to sit idly and let their sisters do the hard work. The cycle of laziness was perpetuated from one generation to the next. Yet, beneath the surface, there was a simmering discontent among the women. They longed for change, for a life where their hard work was recognized and valued. Amara observed all of this with a keen eye. She saw the injustice and the unfulfilled potential, and she decided that she would be the catalyst for change, even if it meant using unconventional methods. The village was ripe for transformation, and Amara was ready to play her. Determined to gain the villagers' attention and respect, Amara began to immerse herself in village life. She frequented the bustling market, buying produce and goods from local vendors. Unlike the other villagers, who haggled over prices, Amara spent her money freely and generously. She often tipped the vendors, leaving them both grateful and curious about her wealth. Her generosity did not go unnoticed. The village women, who toiled endlessly to make ends meet, were particularly intrigued. They whispered among themselves, speculating about the source of Amara's fortune. "She spends money like water," one woman remarked. "Where does she get it all from?" another added. "We work so hard just to put food on the table, and she lives like a queen." Amara's actions sparked a mixture of admiration and envy. Some saw her as a beacon of hope, a living testament to what a woman could achieve. Others viewed her with suspicion, wondering if she had made a pact with dark forces to gain her wealth. Regardless of their opinions, Amara had succeeded in becoming the center of attention. One day, a young woman named Kessie, newly married and deeply disappointed by the village's customs, mustered the courage to approach Amara. Kessie had quickly grown weary of the village's way of life. She regretted marrying a man who did nothing but laze around while she worked tirelessly. She saw in Amara a chance to escape her predicament. "Please help me," Casey pleaded when she reached Amara's doorstep. "I am ready to do anything. I was planning to run back to my village, but I don't want to face the ridicule of my friends. If I become rich like you, I will have no reason to run." Amara looked at the young woman with a mixture of pity and determination. She saw in Cassie the potential to be more than just another oppressed wife. "Come inside," Amara said, opening her door to Cassie, and with her, the possibility of change for the entire village. Inside Amara's grand home, Cassie marveled at the opulence around her. The house was filled with beautiful furniture, intricate decorations, and an air of mystery. Amara led her to a cozy sitting area and offered her some tea. As they sipped, Cassie couldn't help but feel a mix of excitement and apprehension. What would Amara reveal to her? Amara began by asking Cassie about her life and her struggles. Cassie poured out her heart, sharing her frustrations and her desire for a better life. Amara listened patiently, nodding in understanding. When Cassie finished, Amara leaned in and spoke softly. "I can help you, but you must follow my instructions carefully." Amara then handed Cassie a white dress and a small pouch of special powder. "Wear this dress and use a pinch of this powder when you cook for your husband," Amara instructed. "It must be done discreetly, and no one should see you do it." Cassie was curious and slightly skeptical. "What does the powder do?" she asked. Amara smiled mysteriously. "It will bring you what you desire. Just trust me." That evening, Cassie followed Amara's instructions. She dressed in the white gown and prepared a meal for her husband, adding a pinch of the powder. After serving him, she watched in amazement as her husband began to vomit money. Stunned and overjoyed, Cassie hurriedly collected the money and hid it away. The next day, she went to the market, buying items she had only dreamed of owning. The villagers watched in awe and curiosity as Cassie, who had always struggled to make ends meet, suddenly had wealth to spare. The gossip mill churned, and Cassie basked in her newfound status. But Cassie's transformation was just the beginning. Word of her sudden wealth spread quickly, and soon other women in the village became curious about Amara's secret. One by one, they approached Amara, seeking her help. Amara welcomed them, providing each with a white dress and a pouch of powder. As more women joined her, the village began to change in ways no one could have imagined. As more women sought Amara's help, a secret society began to form. These women, who had long endured hardship and oppression, now found themselves part of an exclusive group that shared a powerful secret. They called themselves the Widows' Club, and their numbers grew steadily. Each member received a white dress and a pouch of the special powder, and they met weekly at Amara's grand house to discuss their newfound fortunes and exchange advice. Cassie, having been the first to approach Amara, quickly became Amara's trusted assistant and second in command. She helped coordinate the meetings and ensured that the members followed the rules. The women of the Widows' Club enjoyed their wealth and newfound status, but they also knew they had to keep their activities secret from the men and other villagers. The men, however, couldn't help but notice the changes in their wives. Their friends began disappearing one by one, and the women, who once struggled, now lived in luxury. The men grew suspicious and worried, but they couldn't figure out what was happening. They gossiped among themselves, speculating wildly. Some believed their friends had abandoned them for wealthier women, while others feared something more sinister was at play. Despite their suspicions, the men were too lazy and complacent to take any meaningful action. Instead, they continued their daily routines of gossiping and drinking, oblivious to the true source of the women's wealth. Meanwhile, the women reveled in their success, each day growing more confident and empowered. Amara's influence over the village grew stronger. She continued to provide guidance and support to the members of the Widows' Club, ensuring their loyalty and secrecy. Her mysterious aura and the wealth she bestowed upon the women earned her a revered status among them. The village, once defined by its traditional roles and hardships, was now experiencing a quiet revolution led by the enigmatic widow in white.
I hope you've enjoyed the twists and turns of our tale so far. Stay tuned for part 2. Thank you for watching. Press the like button, comment, and follow for more amazing stories.